Matthews as his replacement. I would give this boy. I'm not even that much of a fan of him, but this Darnell Fisher's been on the bench for the last 2 or 3 games. You know, he must be fit. If he's on the bench, he must be fit. So give him a go, and we'll give him a go in Europe anyway for the next away game, because it doesn't really matter, does it?
See, Philippe Twarzik, is he left back or is he right back?
Yeah, do you know what? I don't even fucking know.
He's not with them.
He's played them all in so many. Boud, have a look.
I'm sure he's played at left back.
He played at left back the last game of the season last year, and he played fantastic.
Remember, he played against Inverness, and he was absolutely dreadful.
Aye, he was
pretty much the worst player on the pitch, and I'm not blaming him for that.
Dyla was complimenting him in the paper the other was it last week, saying that he, because of the kind of 6-1 victory against the Rangers youth team, he gave him a special mention.
Oh right, okay.
About how he's been impressed with him since he came to the club.
Well, well, you know, obviously he's got his eye on certain players. Just with that Thistle game, I mean, I watched it myself. Ciaran, you were at it. We done the job. I think that's all that matters at this point.
All you could really say about it. I mean, I can't even remember many good chances or good football, because it was just that dull and boring. Yeah,
wasn't great. But anyway, done with that. So let's just talk about Saturday. Louis McCaffrey.
That's me.
Talk to me about Saturday.
Well, I got up about 8 o'clock, made my breakfast. Don't know what else I done actually.
Recovered from drinking vodka that tasted the grass.
Aye. Don't ever come to Chris Boud's house.
Because you'll have to drink vodka.
He makes his own vodka in his back garden. And it tastes of grass.
It's grass flavoured. Don't just throw that out there as if...
No, well, I don't know. I thought that it was a great performance, but judging by the papers, I've seen it called lacklustre.
Really?
Yep, lacklustre. Players, Craig Gordon talking in the dressing room, trying to work out what had went wrong, and
we'll come to
all
that.
This negativity. And for me, I thought it was some of the best football we've played since Dyla came. I thought it was brilliant. Fair enough, we didn't score goals. Okay, and that's obviously the most important thing. And it did get quite nervy towards the end. But within the first 15 minutes, we had probably 3 or 4 gilt-edged chances that should have been goals. Any other day probably would have been in. And then second half, we probably had about 3 or 4 more.
I think a couple of things for me, because we'll have our talk on it. I agree. I think it was one of the best performances we have, but not just under Dyla. I think it's been the best performance I've seen from Celtic in terms of football played for quite a number of years. There was some interplay between pretty much everyone, touches, doing the wee triangles, doing diagonals. We had 20 shots. 6 of them went on target, which isn't a great ratio, to be fair. 10 corners. We were just dominant, and we still could have lost. We still could have drawn. I mean, that just shows you how even at 1-0, we were just not happy. We just wanted to continue pushing forward. I think that's probably why the
press have got me some negative thoughts, was the fact of with so many chances, we should have buried that game by half time, but because we didn't, the last 15 minutes we became really nervy and we let Motherwell back in it, and that boy, some youngster, I can't remember his name,
that header.
That header, any, not disrespectful to him, but any more experienced player, like maybe John Sutton or Ojama, probably would have finished that.
A couple of points I'll make as well. See, Godetti just had one of those days. He just had one of those days where...
Should have had a hat-trick.
You can't fault him for that, because he has went in, 9-10 game scoring streak. He's going to have one bad game out of that. So.
I'm in no way faulting him for it. It happens. Crikey, anybody turning up for work and just having a bad day, it happens.
I mean, Skipovic has that for 10 games, so good at have one game.
Skipovic might have one good game coming up.
Calm down on the Skipovic. But, you know... Godetti just had one of those days, because any other time he is, as you say, getting a hat-trick or maybe even 4 goals. I think if we'd scored a second early on, our confidence, because the more we missed, the more people. There was a air of sort of, Christ, this isn't coming as quickly as
I
it
think
should.
if Guidetti had buried that one when he was 1-on-1 with the keeper in the first 10 minutes, it would have been a different game.
Yeah, absolutely. What did you think of?
I was actually quite shocked. No, maybe shocked. Quite shocked that Izaguri was given man of the match. I thought Johansson was outstanding. I thought that was probably one of his best performances. He was just everywhere. And him and
that
Guidetti
game.
are starting to get quite a relationship. See, when you watch them now, the two of them are starting to get a bit of awareness of each other, and they're getting some good kind of interplay and 1-2s and stuff like that to create chances for each other.
Who's that, him, Guidetti?
Yeah, Johansson, Guidetti. They seem to be
Because Guidetti had said that he was asked, who do you like playing with in the team, and his number one choice was Johansson. He says we've had great kind of link up so far, and he's always put me in good positions. So.
I thought I agree with both of you. I thought Johansson was phenomenal. I thought he was everywhere, running beyond the strikers in a way that Petrov used to do that we've not had since. Dropping back, helping Brown out. Bitton for me had an effortless game. He wasn't the best player on the pitch, but I just thought we've talked about it on this podcast a number of times. He does the simple things well to the point where it's effortless.
He just doesn't over elaborate anything. It's just do the simple passes. Don't try and do that big cross field pinger. Just simple to the guy who's like 2 yards in front of you, and create and start from the back.
Pinger is now a word.
Pingers.
The other thing, and I said it in the WhatsApp group we've got, how he was creating space constantly. Like, you could just tell he read the game so well. He didn't even have to be involved in it directly with the ball at his feet, but he was pulling away for people, creating space for other people to move into, and you could tell he knew what he was doing. And can you say that about Mulgrew? I'll mention him for the first time in the podcast. Does he do that? Does he have that awareness to move out of a place or pull a midfielder to create space for somebody else? I don't think he does that.
I think just a point I'll make is at one point during the game, and it was just a small pack, and it wasn't even any sort of, it wasn't an important passage of play, but Bitton stopped the ball with his right foot, put it onto his left, went by someone and took it on his right again, just like a shuffle. That's something Mulgrew couldn't do. Now, that's a very simple thing, but that's just showing that if you're a central midfielder, you need to be at least comfortable with both feet. Obviously, everyone's got a prominent foot that they use, but you have to be comfortable. Charlie Mulgrew isn't, and Charlie Mulgrew, there's a dimension missing when he plays that Bitton brings. You were going to say something?
I was just going to go on as well. The one big thing that Bitton has over Mulgrew is 2-footed. He's very, very comfortable on both feet, so you could see him playing a pass with either foot. And also as well, I mean, his coolness. He doesn't panic when he's got the ball. He doesn't panic under pressure. And there was a couple of times he was kind of harassing a pass, but he made the pass.
Yeah,
it wasn't just kind of lumping it away or just playing a blind pass. He does seem very, very comfortable and very assured in the ball.
Chris, sorry. But
I was just going to say, I remember we had a tweet, and I'm trying to find it to give the guy credit. I can't quite find it. Someone had tweeted us in, I think maybe the last podcast, and he mentioned how Bitton doesn't slow the game down, whereas the likes of Charlie Mulgrew will slow the pace of things down because he dwells on the ball so much.
Yeah.
And remember we said that about Johansson. Johansson done that for a while when he was playing in a deeper position, and he slowed it down constantly. Bitton doesn't do that. He keeps things moving, as you say, playing simple passes, but the tempo's still there, and he's still keeping things going rather than what Charlie Mulgrew does and stands there with the ball and he's looking left and right and thinking about things, you know what I mean?
Boud, what impressed you? Anyone played in particular, or any passage of play or goal? Or
Yeah, it was really Johansson. I thought Brown was good as well.
No, there's a surprise.
Yep.
Fuck's sake.
To mix things up. But no, Johansson's coming on leaps and bounds, and we talked about it before. It's really about him having that more offensive role and that freedom.
Forrest was good as well.
Forrest is looking good as he comes back. But and again, we've touched on this before, but if Johansson is playing that well, it really doesn't leave a place for Commons, I don't think.
Who? Like, I actually forgot he wasn't playing. Like, I think it might have been, again, we've got a kind of private WhatsApp where we kind of talk about the game and stuff. You actually tweeted that this is possibly, with exception of Lustig, our first 11. Exception of Lustig and Denier. And I actually agreed with you. It didn't even come into my head about Commons. So that's a very good point, Boud, because we in no way creatively missed Commons at the weekend. In fact, again, it's what Johansson does in terms of his movement with the ball. He keeps it flowing, like we've said before, and that's something that Commons doesn't do.
That's called greediness.
It's called what?
Greediness.
Commons,
you always want the shot. You won't always see the easy pass or the pass to another player. He'll be kind of wanting the ball, looking and wanting to shoot. Whereas Johansson likes to keep the play going until the actual chance is clear cut and going to be there.
However, since nobody's going to be pro Commons here, I'll just
hold on a minute
advocate.
though.
We're not being anti Commons.
I'm not being anti Commons, and again, I've said it before. Chris Commons is a good player. He's just not fitting into this team. We're not anti Commons in any way. We're just players not fitting into a system.
But you get, considering we were talking earlier about not finishing, Paul Moody on Twitter, that sort of reason, also asked, is that a worry that Celtic can't seem to turn pressure chances into goals? Commons was our top scorer last season. Is that a reason that maybe he should be getting back in it? Could Commons be converted into a striker, although you've got Adair and Griffiths there?
No, there's no need for him to.
He's also not got the pace to run off the shoulders of the last defender, I don't think.
Yeah, I think Lee Griffiths is a better finisher in terms of, well, maybe not actually. That maybe that's debatable. But Lee Griffiths has certainly got a better energy, and he's a lot more fitter. I'd rather play Griffiths, who's not even in the squad on Saturday. I'd rather play him as a striker than Commons as a striker, because Commons isn't a striker.
Yeah, I'd probably say Griffiths is a better finisher. When it comes to digs, Commons has got a good dig on him, but
Griffiths like a good but that is debatable, but that's okay because they both are very good finishers. So that's fair enough. Is there a place for Commons, Louis?
No, I don't think there is when Celtic are expected to be the better team. I think if we were playing, say we were playing Barcelona again, Barcelona at home, or far away, I suppose. More at home, though. I think I would like Commons to be in there, just because I think Commons is good in tight situations. He's not going to make big, lung busting runs up the pitch, but he is quite good at picking passes, I do think. And for that sort of situation, I could imagine it. But if the demand is that we've got to run and really go at teams, there's no place for him, I don't think.
No. Ciaran, thoughts on that? So you agree, disagree?
Yeah, I agree. Because it's probably harsh to say just now as well. I mean, he's obviously back from injury. He's come on probably the last 3-4 games. But when he's come on, I don't really think he's changed the game. No. I don't even think he's getting in the game that much. I think he's struggling to get in the game. I don't know if it's maybe the opposition always earmark Commons and just say, right, make sure he's marked out the game. But the problem, like we have every time at home, teams come and sit in at Parkhead, and they'll sit with almost 10 men in the 18-yard box alone. Because I noticed that with Thistle, anytime the ball was in the middle, there would be about 10 Thistle guys, and it wasn't even the width of the park, it was only the width of the 18-yard box, and it was just so confined and cramped in the middle. But none of our wingers were willing to kind of stay out and keep the width and try and stretch it a bit more. Everybody just wanted to keep coming in, so it was just, everybody was getting each other's road.
Yeah.
So, and we weren't even taking shots either, but not much chance. But that's what I said on the WhatsApp. You find that when we go away, teams won't want to sit on because they're at home. So teams are a bit more forward play, so we're able to kind of pick them and catch them in the counter. I mean, all our performances do seem to be better away from home because teams aren't sitting so defensively, but they do that at Parkhead because when you're coming to Parkhead, there's the fans. So
of course.
There's that whole kind of expectancy that you're going to anyway.
Haven't people always sitting? I mean, under Martin O'Neill, when we played against Martin O'Neill, teams sat in. They might have played a bit more football, but ultimately, instead maybe not have 10 men behind the ball, they might have only had 8, but they still sat with, 8-1-1, Like, people have always sat in. It's not like this isn't a new occurrence. We shouldn't be surprised by this.
But under O'Neill, I don't think